more stars, but anything above
Hey,
7
how's it
is
going?
exceptionally rare. And
We're going to do
probably
a
won't
part
remain
2 to
single.
this.
Although, maybe there are examples somewhere in the universe where
Big lights under the dome.
So, let's add planets into the mix. Could there be a planet out there with 7 suns in their sky? Well, yes. Let's have a look.
I'm not going to repeat anything from the first part, except that we're talking about under the dome, enclosed system, big lights, more than one, aka sun.
At this hypothetical 7-star system again. By here, there are 3 stars in a configuration, 2 in a binary configuration, and a single star. We see that the single star has planets that specifically only orbit that star. They have 1 sun. Beyond that, there are planets that orbit both that star and its binary companions. These planets could be said to have 3 suns, as they are orbiting 3 stars. Going to the top here, there is a planet here that orbits the entire system. This planet could be said to have 7 suns. Let's see what that looks like outside this graph. Interestingly, in a 7-star system, from this distance, it only looks like the orbit.
Okay. So, yeah, we're in imagination land. We're going to try to use what we can. And then they say that one North Star, that it never moves. Isn't it more likely than that's like a freaking camera straight up in the middle? I thought I heard Mag say, and I thought I've heard him say that the night lights aren't moving. Only the big light and the little light are actually moving here. And so I'm not sure if the night lights are the like little not cracks. No, because the diamond dome is uncut. I'm not sure if it's just reflecting reflections of the dome from the big light and the little light, creating the night lights, or because I don't think the night lights are giving off any of their own light. Okay, I'm sorry if this is, but no, I'm sorry. I'm not sure who I'm sorry to.
Orbit of a binary. That's because each set of stars is found in one of these 2 points.
I'm sorry if it sounds dumb or if it's wrong. Hell, I used to do dumb shit. Before COVID, I was like big into social distancing. I've been like that a long time. I used to walk around with a bottle with alcohol spray. And I was so embarrassed, and but better to recognize it and learn and move on.
Here is the planet with 7 suns. Its orbit takes it so far out that these stars aren't very bright in the sky, so even though it has 7 suns, they don't really provide much in the way of warmth or light. Zooming in on the set containing 3 stars.
Okay, so what do I get out of that? Because they're saying what? The natural big lights aren't good enough for them, so they have to make ones that are hotter for them. Or only some of them are, and then we're not sure how they're moving. If they're moving like and clockwise and then up vertically and then down. Is that, like, to me that may be a natural thing, like almost like I don't know what it's called, the pendulum or something, when it moves up in a circular and then down. Either way, clearly, or maybe that's how they do the artificial ones, more likely, right? Over certain areas or whatever. Yeah, it's not like the picture is like with planes and stuff. That would be probably the only place, right? On top, when you're on a plane above the lights.
Stars. We see the planets which orbit all 3 of these stars. These stars would appear much larger in this planet sky compared to the planet.
Oh, and also with the other one I talked about overlaying, how they do overlays in the sky. They can do I think they can also use 3D magic eye illusion with the overlay.
That was orbiting all 7. In this example, the 2 in the binary configuration appear almost too close together to distinguish, with the single star being separate. The other 4 stars that are part of the other set in the system are in the sky. They are very far away, and again don't provide much in the way.
Right, so in other words, they can hide it easily with clouds. One time I saw a rainbow circle above in the top of the dome in the center, and it was after it had rained, and it was just a big circle on the top, which like would show the center of like the top of the dome, and it like literally, I shit you not, 5 seconds later they rolled clouds in. So yeah, after all I've heard with other people, I think it is safe to say they have been using not only cloud machines, chemtrails, cloud machine chemtrails, plane chemtrails to make clouds, but also holographic as well, with 3D overlay on top of it, or with it, using that.
In the way of light or warmth, meaning there is a clear day and night on these planets. Interestingly, though,
they could overlay pictures onto the clouds with the drone in the air. It already has the background, right? Or some type of aluminum foil reflector to hide a light.
Brighter and dimmer during their orbits, and the distance between their system's orbits would get more noticeable as they get closer. Lastly, let's look at a planet orbiting
like, for example, they never even showed us a real picture of what the sun looks like. Think about it. All they ever give you is CGI, 93 million miles away. They never actually showed you how big our sun is and like taking pictures with something that they actually could do. I'm gathering with drones getting close to our sun. They don't even care enough for us to show us a big fucking light. Assholes.
The one star in this system. It orbits closely to the star and is tidally locked, although the night side would be disrupted by the binary configuration this star orbits with, as the planet's orbit can take it between the single star and the binary stars. Think about it.
They've already done their experiments with our lights and are aware that if they, put so and so, such and such in front of it, that it will, do such and such. Sorry.
The binaries orbit together closely, and so wouldn't easily be distinguished in the sky without a filter.
Also, when I think of it and look at it, I see big light. I'm thinking no on the plasma and the magma and the lava, all that. No, fire? No, I'm thinking light, like electric. And yeah, I don't see why that's so difficult. I'm not positive, but that's what I'd say.
Again, the other set of stars in the system would be dim and appear far away. This may make you wonder how many systems out there have more than one star.
Like, for example, have you ever seen a star in the sky? I'm sorry, a nightlight in the sky, where sometimes they don't go. Sometimes you see them how they revolve and they look like they're going clockwise, just like the sun. The big and small light. But sometimes you'll see one and it will go a different direction. I have, and disappear. Anyway.
Are we unusual? Or is it the trend that there is only one star per system? Well, if you look up into a clear night
we don't know, since we don't
surprise you to know
we don't really know how big the sun is or how close it is, right? So it can be smaller and closer, right? Something like that.
Most of these stars are binaries. The brightest star in the sky, Sirius, is a binary. Alpha Centauri, the closest star to us, is a binary. Polaris, the North Star, is also a binary. So for the longest time, astronomers thought that we were the unusual ones. However, it's coming to This
So
is not
yeah, again, we're not really listening to what they say completely, just what they have the chutzpah to show us, which we're looking at hundreds of big lights and suns and moons. And since they are and only deal under the dome here, they're showing us. Wow. And if you think that I'm just some idiot because Mag says something and I run with it, hey, you have your right to that opinion, but I am not going to run with your opinion. Okay? I don't care who says it, whether they're dirt poor or filthy rich. I am capable of pulling out some truth. And I have no problem admitting when someone is right and says something that I think is right. That's how it is, right? Am I right? Isn't that how it is in life? Like someone says something and you're either down and you're in, or you're like, no. Now, maybe some of the no things, maybe it's personal, why we disagree, or maybe it's just straight up wrong. People say things like, especially on TV, right? I mean, at some point, people, we got to take a stand. When I got deep into logic, again, they put me somewhere where I was able to recreate definitions to make everything true. Like we were like this. Okay, here's this total freaking brainwash program where they're talking about, I'm not going to repeat the official story. But in reality, we're doing analogies and parables and scripts and history of us. And we're either going to figure it out or we're going to die dumb. Anyway, what a picture, right? I didn't ever think of it like that. And it opens up a whole bunch of things for me. So bear with me.
not the case, and that most star systems only contain one star. Perhaps the reason why the brightest stars in our sky are binaries is because they are giving off twice the light. Single stars are just generally dimmer.
So, yeah, now interesting. Now they're calling the big light the only star. Okay, so now the night lights aren't stars, they're constellations, and the star is the sun. Now, to me, that also has an analogy for lineage, that kingdoms and that shit, right?
And harder to see in comparison. It doesn't help either that 85% of all stars in existence are red dwarfs, and it seems that only about
Okay, I just want to go back for 1 second.
dimmer and harder to see in comparison. It doesn't help either that 85...
Okay, so they always show you CGI, cartoon, computer graphic images of the sun, the big light on, let's just continue with the big light, okay, aka sun, on TV and on the phone, on the computer. Okay, but in reality, it does look more like this, but this picture is still not real. In reality, you have never seen the big light shining with the stars in the background, correct? The only time you see the big light shining is in the daytime, and you should be able to tell that this is fake. Okay, and you can't deny or be able to answer me why they keep showing you fake shit. Correct? Not that anyone here would be disagreeing with. Yeah, most people watching me, I'm gathering, are very open-minded or being paid. They do. They shut the door on us and the gate on us, just out. Just out the gate in YouTube. Okay? Every dare say every day it gets tighter. So don't feel bad. Don't get discouraged. You move forward and build your strength as Mag did, as I do, as anyone who's lost a channel has done. And The only reason why some people still have their channel, from what I can tell, is that when they get striked, they wait. They wait till it goes back to one strike. Hey, that's your choice. And I am not, I'm not mad at anyone for that. We don't have, I don't have the luxury to be mad at that. I recall being in situations, seeing people arguing about things that to me seemed irrelevant. But, some people, I'm sure, feel that way about me. How dare I start a fight over something, like the things I get upset about? To them, I don't know if you know this, people, but I hate to tell you, but there's certain people in your life that love you, and at least in mine, and they don't believe a damn word out of my mouth. Okay, I am sick and tired of associating with people like that, especially considering that they're not. Life is short. I don't have the energy or I'm not in compliance with it. I don't know. It's tough. It's very tough. I am not tribal at all. I'm not. And, when you've been fooled so many times, as I'm sure you all have, like me, it's almost like it doesn't even matter at some point what the truth is, because I'm going to be the best I am at the end of the day, right? And I'm going to hold everyone accountable at the end of the day, including myself. Do you see, right? What happens in the dark must come to light.
All stars in existence are red dwarfs, and it seems that only about 25% of them have companions. In fact, it's interesting.
Wow. All stars are red dwarfs. I'm not even sure what to tell you, but that's gotta mean something, because they're mean people. Red dwarfs. And half of them have companion. Companion what? Yeah, like yeah, wow. It's fine. Whatever.
Interesting that binaries occur much more frequently with the really massive stars, the blue and white giant pumped with as much material as they were forming, hence why they never attained the mass of a blue giant. In an environment where forming a blue giant is possible, however, models suggest that several stars could form at the same time. At first, these systems would be chaotic. The stars would be ejected until order could be found. The ones that remained and survived were the ones that ended up absorbing the most interstellar medium, thus becoming the most massive of stars.
Sounds like total bullshit.
The interstellar medium that ended up caught in protoplanetary disks around these stars later formed planets.
Yeah, just showing you the one eye. In other words, they're saying they've made the artificial light and then they brought the people in, correct? Yeah. And I'm interested in...
It's harder for planets to form compared to around a single star.
What would be good to know is, where is the natural light? So if they switch them off, or as they say, it's going to blow up or burn up, or that we're not sitting here in the dark. Lame. So lame. It's so lame.
Certainly not impossible. So perhaps there is indeed somewhere out there where there is a planet with 7 suns. What a cool sight that would be too. I just can't help letting my imagination run with what that would be like. However, it probably wouldn't.
They're mocking us.
So great for a nice consistent day and night cycle. So there we have it. how planets orbit in multi-star systems. Now, this sponsor is something useful you may.
So it could be very easy for them to do, with lasers or lights. I mean, just making a big light or whatever. But the hard part is going to be hiding it and making sure they're consistent, right? All right, we're going to finish this up. Here, I don't know what this is. I never do. If I ever put out a video and it was really offensive, it's because I don't watch them before I put them out. Yeah. And then if I really fuck it up, I delete it. But I usually, I go in, I don't know what I'm seeing. And then you never know where they're going to take me. Anyway, I just want to end with this one. I have to get going. But they're saying there was no sun for a year and a half. Stop that. In 500 or whatever. So let's
Hello
just
everyone, welcome to my channel.
Listen to this because this is what I'm talking about. Turn the switch off.
In learning, today we are going to know about a year which is known to be the worst year in human history to be alive. Yes.
Because it could be everywhere, or else it would be only certain places. Obviously not for them. I'm going to pause you. My reception's been horrible for weeks now. It's not just me.
The worst year to be alive, as there was no sun for 18 months. Imagine. Researchers identify 536 AD as the absolute worst year ever, and not 1349 when Black Death wiped out half of Europe, and not even 1918 when the flu killed 100 million people, but 536 AD. And now it is being compared to the horrible 2020. It was a year in which the world was plunged into darkness and has been nominated as the worst year to be alive. As per the researchers, it all began with
Okay, so they're saying it's a parable.
volcano and volcanic eruption that set famine, plague, and
Analogy.
economic upheaval
There
in
you
motion.
go. We all
Marked the
know
year
what that
500
is. It's a smoke cloud coming from their volcano or their freaking building.
6 AD, the worst year in human history. It all began after a volcano in modern-day Iceland had erupted in 536 AD, less than a century after the sack of
Oh, that
Rome,
made
and
it
was
dark.
the beginning of Dark Ages. This created a huge
Okay,
cloud that
yeah,
resided
huge cloud to block the sun. They can do that too. Yep. No solar. Yep. But we still got fire.
most of the northern hemisphere for 18 months. The eerie fog caused an unrelenting dusk, preserving throughout day and night. The resulting plumina of ash covered most of the northern hemisphere, weakening the sun and causing global temperatures to plummet over 1 degree Celsius or 1.8 degree Fahrenheit. It was the coldest period in 2000 years.
Okay, that's shutting power off,
And the
freezing to
frigid
death.
temperatures that blighted the crops resulted in starvation. Adding to the gloom, an outbreak of bubonic plague spread throughout eastern Rome and killing droves, giving away an economic downturn that lasted for 30 years. Within a decade, 2 more eruptions further worsened the climate, spreading crop failures and famine. One Byzantine historian
Okay, so they're going into reality, not just analogy. 30 years, famine, death, and so forth. Correct? And they're saying it's 500, and we're saying every 2,000, at least every, what? I'm not sure. They seem to do some type of cleanup every 100 years of some sort.
remarked that the sun gave forth its light without brightness, like moon during the whole year. And the archives
Yeah.
noted that there was failure from the years
I'm sorry, my bad.
506 to 539 AD. Volcanic eruption had cooled the planet for a decade. Death of the crops, subsequently of the
Now, it's interesting that they get rid of the evidence. I'm sure they have a copy of it, but I think they've got... It seems to me that they've gotten this far in what they've done in history once, twice, at least once before. And that they get rid of all the evidence because, like, for example, there's no more books because we're on computer, right?
starvation
and
and
just
malnourishment.
start back over. That's what it seems like to me. First, second, third world
Made them
country.
susceptible to more diseases. The year was tipping point in an era of unprecedented devastation. In this era, the fruits didn't ripen, the wine tasted like sour grapes. Researchers later discovered that there were more volcanic eruptions too that had caused the formation of the dust and the wheel around the planet. As a
Okay,
basic
now, yes, but you could say that it has been 30 years, could have started in, it's 2020. You could say it started in 1990 and worked its way up to 2020. You could say all this stuff has happened. 100 million people is nothing when there's 7 billion, correct? Right? All this stuff that they've already done.
of plants, they needed to sun grow, but due to extreme cold situation, crops were ruined and unable to grow. There was a situation of famine around the world as temperature had fell incredibly, initiating a coldest decade. There was food shortage, there was bread failure, there was dust in the sun, and people were trying to
Okay, I
cope up
think
the
it's safe
situation.
to say when there's a food shortage, it's okay if they shut the electric and say there's no more gas or to run the electric or whatever. You haven't paid your bill, right? I think it's safe to say in this environment, electric's out, correct? I feel like it's a disconnect, and I'm not saying I'm immune to it, but on a different, I obviously have taken responsibility for some of my lack of sight on things, such as like the ball earth, all the mental psyop shit. But anyway, let's just keep.
Came a plague of Justinian, striking on these vitamin D deprived immune system people. Nobody was immune to this manifestation. It throughout lower classes to the imperial palace, and the symptoms began with the sore on the in Constantinople. The sea began to see the piles of dead bodies, and they were being thrown to the sea, which resurfaced later. There was no Emperor Justinian ordered the bodies to be removed from the city, so it was people were responsible for taking sick to more of the disease, and more than 50 million people died from it. In China, it's
Yeah, that's another thing. When we know people aren't dying now, and when shit does hit the fan, I think we're gonna know it because that's when they really will be exiting. Yeah, that's when they'll be going. Won't see them around.
draining.
If they're even among us.
Nanshi
The TV.
Chronicle of 6th century, it was reported like a yellow ash-like substance falling from the sky and known as in color. However, this was just the beginning of China's disruption of weather with frost in August, and this resulted in famine and death of 70% people. Justinian tried to overcome the instability but
She hear what she said? Storms and snow, freezing, starting in August, 70% dead.
Did not happen, and it was in 549 Byzantine Empire lost 55% of population due to plague, which was known as plague of Justinian, and then swept through much of the Eastern Roman Empire, killing more than 55% of population and led to economic stagnation. Later, it was found that there were more volcanic eruptions in Salvador, and smog was due to that. Even civilization during 520.
See, again, they're mixing the analogy. Volcanic eruption. Okay, here, they're talking about a plague. What, a plague from a volcano?
There was changes in weather affecting the living conditions and food facilities. It was surely a terrible year that made everyone suffer. It was
Yeah, no coincidence. First the soil, and then the food facilities. Correct?
planet history, things to cut down and change for good. There was reappearance of lead in the ice core samples, which indicated people were
Lead, of course. All the houses.
for money.
need to get out of these houses, mold issues. You're better off in the RVs. They're shaped in more like a car, right? And you got to be able to get to everything. And we're better off in adobes with rubber roofs. Yeah, it's something you can put up in a month. It's sad, people. Everything they've given us is junk. All right, I'm going to end this.
Which was sign of thriving.
See what's going on with the reception? Horrible. We got, won't even do the last couple seconds here.
Things are good and economy was restored. So you should count your blessings and be happy that we are not approaching something as cataclysmic level of abject despair, at least not yet.
There you go. More fear tactics. They show you the pictures, everyone dead, count your blessings. You're only going to be tracked and hacked from your inside out in your soul. Do not take the vaccine. How's